Hey everyone, welcome to day 3 of our Facebook Live, Stepping into Your Body as a Spiritual Little Spirit. Joining us today. Hi Frey Frey! Today I wanted to talk about how our endocrine system works, what explains to us, and how this system gives us some very important, very needed spiritual experiences. So your endocrine system is a system that has 3 major parts to it. You have your endocrine glands and tissues of your body which produces hormones. You then have the hormones, which travels through every tissue of your body and is received by every cell of your body. So in essence, every cell of your body is part of your endocrine system. This is a system of communication through sensation, emotion, instinct, desire, cravings. It drives so many of our instincts. It gets triggered through genetic memory and through habits. So whenever you're talking about habits, whenever you're talking about what it is you crave or desire or want or find fulfilling, you're having hormones that drive this instinct. This instinct is coming from receptors, cell receptors inside your tissues of your body that is being communicated to your nervous system, and your nervous system has specialized glands within it that then send chemical transponders to tell hormones to be released by different glands and organs of your body. You just want to get into everything, don't you? Okay. And so, something to think about is how you have all these different you have instincts that also drive you to take actions and give you ambition. You know, you have dopamine, you have serotonin, you have adrenaline, you have all of your forms of testosterone and cortisol. All these things have habits and routines to them that keep you in your cycles of your life. Without cortisol, you wouldn't wake up and get out of bed. You can't breathe without cortisol. Cortisol stimulates your muscles to work that make it so that the oxygen inside your body is being produced, because it's your muscles and connective tissue that pull your lungs open to draw your breath in. Your cortisol is produced by your adrenals. Your adrenaline, which is your fight or flight instinct. So whenever you have that fear or anxiety or anticipation, this is coming from your adrenal glands. Whenever you have that aggression or vigor or ambition that pushes you forward, this is a chemical recipe of your body of producing adrenaline mixed with dopamine and noradrenaline that drives everything that you want. It drives you into protecting those that you love, of getting out of the way of a car. It drives you to overcome those nervousness that allows you to go up and introduce you to people. It gives you these instincts of craving reproduction and wanting to have intimacy. And so this is a system that is all about the habits of your body as an animal. And this is something that is sometimes a challenge for spiritual people, is to remember how animalistic we are, how much there is this undercurrent of instinctive drive to protect ourselves from being dominated, to ambitiously drive forward, to want to serve. You know, this is a big thing that we cover on the endocrine day in intuitive anatomy, is as spiritual service. You know, one of the reasons why our soul came here now is to be of service to the world, to be of service to others, to perform abilities to help transform the world around us. And our spirit is used to not having that fatigue of routines and being in a physical body. And so one thing that healers run into, and service people run into, and educators run into, is exhaustion. Because we forget to set boundaries on our time and our energy, and we give and give and give and exhaust ourselves. Also, a major thing with this system is about really stepping into our power of expressing ourselves and communicating. You know, so each endocrine gland, just to go through them really quickly, starting at the top, is our pineal gland, which is this tiny little gland that is in the center of your brain that connects to your crown chakra. It's the window of the soul, and it produces the serotonin for your nervous system. That, you know, there's over 27 different types of serotonin. Serotonin is that calm, relaxed state of bliss, of just feeling that serenity of life and being in a peaceful state. So when people talk about wanting to tap into that spiritual experience of being at peace and having inner peace and inner calmness, what they're wanting as an experience is to experience serotonin. That sense of pleasure is from dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter, but is part of the endocrine system. Not just your nerves produce dopamine, but your endocrine glands produce dopamine as well. You then have your pituitary gland, that is the general of your lower endocrine system. It produces all of your Freya, what you getting at? It produces all of your hormones that don't go to the tissues, but actually hormones that go to the rest of your endocrine glands, so to stimulate them to produce hormones. So you actually have hormones just to produce other hormones. And so the pituitary gland is really about that self-discipline and control. And, you know, that's a really big thing in spirituality, is that sense of, I am in control of my life. I can have self-discipline to monitor myself. You know, how do you self-monitor? This is a major thing with your pituitary gland. Are you feeling controlled by others? What's that? Yes. Are you feeling controlled by others? No. No, you're not. You're in control. You're learning to take control of your body. Yes? It was Freya's birthday yesterday, and we're having fun. Every Wednesday I get to have my day with Freya. It's our habit. This is where I get to get into my instinctive desires of parenthood, of being a father. That is so fulfilling. My genes say, have children and enjoy them and parent them and raise them to secure your future. You know, this is something that a lot of people instinctively feel. That's your genetics driving hormones that give you the sense of wanting to go out and find a mate, wanting to find somebody that is compatible with me, and wanting to then have these children. And what I end up receiving is this oxytocin response where we bond, we connect. What is it, Frey Frey? You want something to play with? Here, look. I'll play with the wooden cow. Here, do. There we go. Give her a little sit up there. Oh, what's that? Want to say hi? So it is important to realize, you know, the goals of your life sometimes may not have actually been the goals of your spirit, but the goals of your ancestors that are carried genetically, that then trigger these hormonal instincts that drive you forward, and they peak at different times. You know, when people talk about wanting to have children, there's certain peak times for men and women of actually desiring this. There's also cultural acceptabilities of stages of time when you're supposed to pursue it or not. And these are all beliefs, you know. So this is the thing. Which of your goals are yours? And which aspect of you? You are not just your spirit. You are also your ancestors. You are not connected to your ancestors, you are them. Yeah. So think about that. How many of your instinctive drives, how many of your cravings, you know, this also, and we're going to talk about this a lot more tomorrow when we talk about the digestive system, but you crave certain foods because of memories that you carry in your cells. And your body produces certain enzymes to break down specific types of proteins just for that. So something to think about is, what habits of your life did you learn? What habits of your life just come out of cravings? And are they the healthiest cravings? Because in every craving, if it's food, if it's some type of activity, if it's some type of goal, if it's an ambitious drive to pursue a career path, was that something that was taught to you? You know, are you wanting, and this is something that Vienna actually talks about. So Vienna always felt this calling to have horses. And at one point in her life, she had horses early on when she had her kids. And then it became so exhausting to keep up with taking care of the horses with her kids and trying to have a practice that she ended up having to really work on herself about this and realize, is this my calling? Is this a desire of mine? And she started to research her ancestors and discovered that one of her ancestral lines comes from Kentucky, and they were horse farmers. And so the idea and the desire of having horses was not that of her spirit, but was primarily based on memory that she carried in from her ancestors in her DNA that drove this desire and goal in her life. And she only felt fulfilled when she had horses until she worked on that. And then she could let that go and put that as a goal on the shelf while she built her practice, while she supported raising her kids. And when her kids became adults, she was able to revisit it. And it was so awesome. This last summer, Sarah and I and the kids, we went out to Montana, and we got to go and visit Vienna's horses. And she has started to raise horses, and she has her whole ranch there at her place. And she has, I think over 9 horses now. She's breeding them, and they're beautiful, they're majestic, and just absolutely amazing. And I can see how it fulfills her, but it's not the purpose of her soul to breed horses. It's a desire of her cells and her ancestors that give her this instinct. So you have to really think about, spiritually, what is your sense of purpose? You know, are you here to help bring children into the world? Are you here to fulfill the goals of your ancestors? Are you here to do your divine timings? And how do they all work together? Because this is going to help you not overstretch and overcommit to too many goals, because that's going to exhaust your adrenals. And those ambitions make a lot of stresses on your nervous system and on your neurochemistry, which is part of your endocrine system. So these are some of the aspects of your endocrine. You know, continuing down through the body, you then have the thyroid and parathyroid. that wrap around each other as glands that sits just at the base of the neck. You then have your thymus, which is right next to your heart, that stimulates the production of your white blood cells and also produces hormones that help regulate your heart rhythm. Coming down, you then have your pancreas, which sits just underneath your stomach and connects to your duodenum, that produces pancreatine, which helps in the breakdown of your food and helps with your stomach acids, and then also your insulin, which carries the sugar of your body to your cells that gives you all the energy for everything that you do. Continuing, you have 2 adrenal glands that sit on top of each kidney, and then you have your gonads that for women produce your estrogen and progesterone, and then men have their gonads that produce testosterone. Women, you get testosterone from your adrenals. Testosterone is a hormone that gives you a sense of ambition and drive. It gives you your libido. So for men, we get ambition and drive and libido from 2 different endocrine glands, where women, you only get it from your adrenals. And so what ends up happening is, for men, we can be exhausted and still have a sex drive, where sometimes for women, when you're tired, you do not want to be intimate. So this is a really big thing around that energy of service, setting boundaries, maintaining your time, and really looking into that sense of energetic empowerment. Freya is just having a ball right now. So that you can properly take care of yourself, properly maintain yourself. When your endocrine system gets off, depending on what recipe it's out of balance, can cause all different types of health problems. If your thyroid is off, your thyroid regulates your calcium levels, so that has a lot to do with the your bone density and the strength in your muscles. Also, it regulates your oxygen levels, so that has a lot to do with your metabolism. So your thyroid and parathyroid is all about that sense of strength. And it gets out of balance when your throat chakra is out of balance. So if you're unable to really speak your truth, or if you're having to fight for your space for your truth, then you never listen to other people's truth. The thyroid is about communication, expressing and receiving communication. Your thymus is all about that sense of courage and that sense of bravery and listening to your heart and moving forward, not having that hesitation, feeling that sense of I will be okay, that safety and security. Your pancreas is really about, and I obviously have worked on this quite a bit with the pancreas, is about sweetness of life. So if you were to translate that to an experience, what is that sense of nectar? What would the experience of an environment of nectar? Think about that for a minute. So this isn't about indulgence and that sense of pleasure. That's dopamine. What I'm talking about is this fruitful environment where you are surrounded with an energy that gives you a true sense of potency. Yeah. So would you all like to know what it feels like for life to be sweet, for life to have that sense of fulfillment? If you would like this download, say yes. Click like. And would you like to have clarity of what it is that is the desire of your soul and what your divine timing is? and the difference between your divine timings and the goals of your ancestors. Do you like Creator's discernment on this? Really quickly, I'm going to show you Sasha dog. Hey, Sasha. Hey, Sashi. He loves his toy. Hi, Liam. And would you like to know what it feels like to be in that state of inner peace and to have that sense of peace? And because the endocrine system works as a balanced system, all of your endocrine glands work in ratios to each other, all of your hormones, would you like to know what it feels like and how to live your daily life in balance? Yes, you would like that? Okay. And so one of the things is not just about divine timing and what services you're here for, but also what your sense of life lessons that you're moving through. Many of the virtues that we're here to learn, you come to an animal body to experience because it's through these hormones that give you this sense of peace, of knowing what the feeling and sensation of calmness is, of bravery, of patience. You know, a lot of these sense of strength is not just the experience of your muscles, but you know, courage and bravery and fearlessness and the thing that drives us into so many experiences and the habits of our life that we mature through and get to our life lessons is really being driven by our endocrine system and being in an animal body. So would you all like to know what it feels like and how to recognize the spiritual experience of being an animal and embracing your animalistic nature? And to know that you can be connected with the Creator and be in your instinctive nature. And this is where a lot of the belief work is done, so that you can recognize what it is to be in balance and be in health, to really work on your cell receptors and to work on these tissues that produce so many of your experiences of your life, so that you can fully embrace all the aspects of who you are. So would you like to know how to embrace your human body and to know what it feels like to really step into your humanity, to accept your femininity or masculinity in both, to recognize that within your female body that you are balanced between your feminine and masculine side? Yeah. Okay. So in the intuitive anatomy class, this is a really, really big day where we do a lot of belief work around these habits of exhaustion and what drove us there, and work on all these adrenal beliefs and all these thyroid beliefs and all of these hormonal beliefs that cause imbalance. And then we balance our hormones and do physical healings on this day so that we can really move forward more harmonized in our life. So this really is about balance and harmony, and that is just one of the most ultimate truths of health is balance and harmony. Your cells sing, they vibrate, and whenever you're out of harmony, whenever your body is not tuned as an instrument, then there's something unhealthy going on, some pattern, some emotion, some thought process, some habit that's out of rhythm. It's unbalanced. So really look at your life and your energy of, are you giving back to your body, and what experiences is your body giving you, and how to be in harmony with it so that you can be in these virtues of courage and bravery and peace and calmness, so that you can pursue your virtues. And I want to thank you all for joining me today. Today's day 3. Remember, we're doing this for 15 days. Each day we're going to go over another system from intuitive anatomy and address some things so that you can really awaken your spirit, so that you can continue to work on this. And if you have already taken intuitive anatomy, you know, it really is a spiritual retreat. If you have friends that haven't taken it, maybe share it to their page. Let them really understand how this can awaken their life and embrace them. If you have already taken it and you're feeling like you're needing a refresher, you know, really remember to work on your stuff, to revisit your manual, and consider when it is appropriate to retake the class. You know, I have retaken this class a couple times. I have done the teacher's training over a couple times, and I've also taught it more than 22 times. And every time I go through the material, I find new truths, I learn new things, and I continue to clear more beliefs relating to each system. And my life changes every single time. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and remember to log on again tomorrow. It'll be sometime between 1 and 2. I'll give you a heads up of when it's going to be happening. And please spread the word, spread the message to others, and I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for joining me.